Hi, so my name is Hana Khan and I'm a pilot with an Indian airline. I did not always want to become a pilot. I was many things before I became a pilot. I was in the media industry for a few years. I left that to start my own events company. And then it so happened that in one of the events that I was doing, it was a destination wedding at this place called Leela in Trivandrum. I checked in on my Facebook and a friend of mine responded who was a pilot, and we all met up in the evening. They were all a bunch of pilots and I was the only non-pilot there. And I was so fascinated with what they were talking about. When they started talking about flying, I was wondering why I was not doing the same thing and what have I been doing with my life. And I just knew I had to become one. So I went home or to my hotel room and I called up my mom and I told her, Mama, you know what, I think I want to be a pilot now. So my mom, it was 11:30 in the night, her bedtime, and she tells me, Beta, go to sleep. You know, you're kind of, I think you're thinking too much. I think you should sleep. We'll talk about it tomorrow. So, but then the thought didn't leave my head. This was 2014 and I just couldn't stop thinking about it. I did a bunch of things. I did skydiving, scuba diving, tried to think that maybe that adrenaline will get out of me, but really it did not. And in 2015, I eventually started my flying, exams and stuff like that. So. And in 2017 I got my license. So yeah, I just could not stop, thinking about becoming a pilot, and that's how I am here. How to become a pilot? That's something which most people ask me, and most people, want to know. So this is one of those professions where you can get in immediately after your 12th. You need to do your 12th maths and physics, and if you don't have a science background, you can always do it from an open school. So what you do is you have your arts or your commerce or whatever 12th, and then you do an open school with maths and physics, just those two exams, and then you're good to go. You're good to go and apply for your computer number. So now what does a computer number mean? It's a number where you can start applying for exams for the DGCA. All right, so for that, the prerequisite would be you have to just pass. Yes, you heard me correct. You have to just pass in 11th and 12th maths and physics. That's it. You don't need a percentage. You don't need to be like Einstein. You don't need to get 75 and above. No, just a pass marks is absolutely fine. And NIOS, as I already told you, that's an open school in case you are a person who's come from a commerce and arts stream. So that's one thing. Some questions that I get is, so I have weak eyesight, or I am, of a certain height. Can I become a pilot? So anything above 5 feet is perfectly fine, and below that, you just need to go to a class 2 examiner and figure it out from him. And similarly, when it comes to your eyesight, if you have glasses, you can become a pilot. That is in the Air Force that you will not be able to, but in a commercial pilot license, you can definitely become a pilot with some glasses or with some power in your eyes. You need to find out from your class 2 and your class 1 doctors. They will guide you as to what you can do, and if you need a LASIK surgery, you might need that, but there are lots of ways to do it. So I would suggest for anyone who's got eyesight issues, go to a medical person and class 2 doctor and figure that out. So that's with medical. So once you know that you're fit to fly, you get your DGCA computer number. So the computer number, you need your 12th and your 10th mark sheets, verification, you need a photo ID, you need an address proof, much like a lot of things. The only problem that you might have is with the verification. So those verification certificates are issued by the board that you've given your exam in, either if it's CBSE or ICSE. So that's the verification that you'll need to do. And so you get your computer number, and then you have 4 exams to give. So the 4 exams are navigation, regulations, metrology, and technical. So these 4 exams, the toughest of them, I think that you need to spend most time on is navigation. I would always suggest people to get into airline classes. There are two reasons for it. One reason would be that you know what to study, and you know exactly where to study from. And the other reason is that you meet more people. So when you meet more people, you start figuring out at that stage if you are going to fly in India, fly outside. So you get a lot of people to talk to, and I think that's something which is very essential in this industry. Word of mouth is very, very important. So that's your 4 exams, and then there's an RTR exam. So that is conducted by the WPC. It's a separate entity from DGCA. So you have to apply for it online, and I would suggest that you need to finish these exams before you start your flying. So this is your prerequisite, and this is how you get started to on your journey. So we've covered the exams, and we've covered all the 4 exams. We've covered RT. So my suggestion to every student pilot is finish your exams before you start flying. Okay, the reason for this is that once you finish your flying, you have a multi-engine at the end of it. Okay, at the end of your flying hours, you have a 25 hours multi-engine requirement that has an IR validity. So you have a particular test that you need to do on that multi-engine, and that is valid for only 6 months. So if it's valid only for 6 months, that means that you get only those 6 months to give your exams, which is undue pressure on you. You're mentally stressed out. You're running for time, and if you don't make it, then it's another whole lot of problems, because if you don't make it within those 6 months, then you need to give that test again. And you can't just get into the aircraft and give that test. You have to, you need to fly a few hours. You need to do a day check, a night check. That's a lot of that's waste of money. You'll have to spend more, because multi-engine is expensive. So you'll have to spend more, and then you're wasting your time as well. Because in India, if you're flying in India, it takes a long time to get a multi-engine. So you're going to waste a lot of time. 6 to 7 months you're waiting just to get a chance to get an IR done. So you wasted a whole year just doing this. So my suggestion is to every pilot, do not listen to anyone. I know there are flight schools that tell you, oh no, it's okay, you please come and fly with us. See, it's their business. But you have to be responsible for yourself, and I think you must give your exams before you start flying. Okay? So that's one thing that that is a must. So after you're done with your exams, all right, there is one technical thing here. So if you are flying in India, then you need to give a technical exam, and then a technical specific exam, which is specific to your aircraft. Pretty easy. Whatever aircraft you fly, you just give an exam on that. So, but if you go outside India, you don't need to give that technical exam or the technical specific. That will be done in that country. So that is one thing, that if you are planning on flying outside India, then you need to just give 3 exams, which are navigation, air regulation, metrology. Air regulations and metrology is fairly simple, and if you have the right books, you can you can study on your own. I don't think you need someone for it. But navigation, yes, there are lots of formulas and lots of ways to do it. So you need someone for navigation. Having said that, people also ask me that is it very tough? Is it like maths? Is it like physics? It's absolutely not the same. It is a completely different subject. Navigation means the study of navigating, from going from one place to the other. So to say that it's like maths, that's incorrect. There's no differentiation and all of that integration. No way. It's a completely different subject. And since I feel that you chose this field and you're doing it for passion, you won't find it hard. And it's not difficult at all. There are lots of people who are below average, who have cleared it with no problems at all. So I don't see anyone having or being stuck there at all. So get that fear out of your head. Is it like maths or whatever? It's not like that. It's completely different. Okay, so now we're done with the exams. We're done with RT. I think I'd like to specify here that RT, people sometimes don't give their RT here and they go outside to another country and they get an RT there and come back to India with that RT and they convert it. So that, even though it may be a very easy way to do it, because the RTR exams in India are a little tough, but I don't think it's very practical in the long run, because you'll have to keep renewing that. And once you get an RTR India, if you do your exams here, it's a lifetime RT. So my suggestion would always be to a new pilot is to give your RTR exams. It's going to take you maybe another month or two studying for it and preparing for it, and you have a lifetime validity and you don't have to worry about it. So there are very good classes here, and you can do those classes. You need you cannot do this on your own, because you need a person to practice with. These are like there are two parts in the RTR exam. So there's a part A, part 1, which you have to, they'll give you terminologies. They'll be talking to you as if the ATC is talking to you. So you have to reply to them that way. So that's, you need a person to, help you with that. And the part 2 is more like physics and basic formulas and all of that. So that's RTR for you. You have good classes, join those, finish that. Okay. Now comes your flying. There are two ways to go about it. There's a cadet program that people are really going for these days. It's I think it's really advantageous, because what happens in a cadet program is at the end of the program you are guaranteed a job. So Indigo is doing one, AirAsia is doing one, I think SpiceJet is doing one as well. So when these cadet programs happen, they ensure that at the end of the whole training you have a job. So I think that's a huge plus. But the only downside to this is it's very costly. So it'll cost you somewhere around 1 crore rupees, which is quite a lot. But it guarantees you a job. So there is a pro and the con there. The second way to go about it is to actually fly on your own, like I did. You go and you finish your exams, you go outside, or you stay in India and you do your flight training, and then you get your license. So that's how I did it. And then I sat down for exams. There were airline exams, so you give that. So that's one way to go about it, and then the other way. So when it comes down to cost for the, people call it the conventional way. I don't know why they call it that, but yeah, it's either the cadet or the conventional. So the conventional pilot would training would cost somewhere around 30 to 45 lakhs. The reason that I'm saying that it's like a lot of variation in that, is that not only your training, but your lodging, your staying, your food, all of that comes along with this, right? Especially if you're going outside India. Outside India, they say that they'll finish your flying in 25 lakhs, but there are overheads. You have a rent to pay, you have food to eat, you have transport to arrange. So it always comes to around 30 to 35 to 40 also sometimes. And it also depends on how long you take, especially if you're outside India. And if you take a longer time, which is perfectly fine. Everyone has their own space and pace of doing things, and it's perfectly fine if it takes you longer. It's just going to be more costly. And to say that, oh no, I'm a good pilot, I'm a good student and I'll do it faster, no, that doesn't work. Sometimes there's just circumstances. Like I got stuck in Florida, there was a problem with the multi-engine, so I got stuck on that stage for a long time. Or the weather, there was a cyclone there, or a tornado. So, that happens. So these things also you need to keep in mind, and a budget of that much would be the most decent. I mean, I would suggest that keep in your brain, think about 40 lakhs. Even if your school is telling you 25, 30, think about it that, that it's going to cost you that much with all the overheads. Alright, so when it comes to flight training, it depends on which country you're training. In India, what happens is that you have 200 hours to fly. You have some cross countries, you have solo flights. So you have these bunch of prerequisites which any flying school, any decent flying school will help you with. They will tell you what all requirements you need to fill for the DGCA license. It's fairly easy once you get into it. I don't want to get into it right now and confuse you all, but it's very simple. It sounds complicated, 100 nautical miles cross country. It's nothing, it's no rocket science, all right? So that's what happens in India, is that they do these 200 hours with the multi-engine, and you apply for your CPL license. In other countries, it's not the same way as here. In other countries, you have stages. So you have a PPL, and then an IR, and then then you have the CPL. So with PPL, it's a private pilot license, then the instrument rating, and then commercial pilot license. So in PPL, you have this particular stage where you have to solo, and you have to show them that you can solo. Then you have to do cross country, and then you have a check ride, and you get your PPL license. You apply for it. Everything is online, so you don't really have to wait for it. You apply for it, you get your PPL license. The second part would be the IR. So again, the same thing, that you need to fly without looking at looking outside. It's supposed to simulate something where you do not see your surroundings. You can only trust your instruments. So that's the second stage. And commercial pilot license, it will include your multi-engine, and then you will have a check ride again. So you have 3 check rides, and you have exams at every stages, like you have a PPL exam or a IR exam and a CPL exam. So all 3 stages will require you to give another additional exam in that country. Okay, so it's very simple. It's easier than the DGCA exams, and especially if you've already done the DGCA exams, it's a piece of cake. So again, another advantage to giving your exams and then going there. Give your exams first. The salaries are a ballpark figure of 2 lakhs to 3 lakhs in India, and that's the starting salary. And it increases once you become a senior first officer. Once you have your ATPL, there's another salary. Once you're a commander, there's another salary. So it increases. In a few years, you can end up earning like 10-15 lakhs a month, 10 to 15. So that's a lot of money. But the only thing is that I keep telling people, please don't become a pilot to earn, because it's something that you are passionate about. It's the passion that will drive you, because it gets monotonous, it gets boring. So if you don't like being in the sky, it's going to be very hard for you. Oh, so there's so many good things about my job. I have never been a person who has been okay with a 9-to-5 setup. The careers that I chose were never something that would make me sit in the office for a particular amount of time. I just can't do it. So with aviation, I don't have a time. I can get up in the morning, and I have day flights and night flights and every kind of flights. So I enjoyed that, and I love the fact that every day is a new day. I have a new boss. Okay, I have a new a new person. Every day I have new people that I see. It's amazing. And then you have skies. The skies change every day. Even if I go Delhi, Bombay today, and I go Delhi, Bombay tomorrow, it's not going to be the same. So that's the best thing about my job. So talking about where we are headed, see, my guess is as good as yours. Things are so unpredictable right now. Things are so we just can't say. It's up in the air. We have no clue what's going to happen. So having an educated guess is the best thing that we can do right now. Is that India has always been the economy has always been get up and go. And I think that this is what's going to happen very soon. We are going to see things getting back to normal, or the new normal as we can call it. We'll probably see us changing a little bit, our lives changing a little bit, but getting back to the skies would be a priority. And people are already planning vacations, I've heard. So yeah, it is going to get better, and aviation will boom again. So and I think this is the best time to actually start, because in the next 3 years, it will take you probably 3 years to finish. So in the next 3 years, you will see a better economy as as compared to now. So yeah, best time to start, and that's what I think.
If you found this video helpful, subscribe to our channel for more career videos every week. Leave your comments on careers you would like to watch, and we will try our best to help you find your stride.